Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna fix things for sure. This is something I did like the 3-bedroom unit that I have over there. Before I rented it to tenants, I kind of went over to the boiler and just visually inspected it. And if I saw rust or, check the valves, if anything looked like it was bad, like this, there's rust there. So obviously there's a problem here. This thing was actively leaking on the floor. So I just unspun the little, there's a copper pipe that sticks out of it. Yeah, it's right here. So I just took that off. I had this system down for 5 months because I was doing work upstairs, and then I went to pressure everything back up, turn the boiler on. Everything works. It just doesn't hold water, which I think that's important with these things, pretty sure. And then I came and I was poking around back here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh. Yeah, the pump still works and everything, but yeah, I don't know about that. So I think we're going to do the right thing and spray this with some WD-40 and try to snap these bolts off in the boiler. Yeah, so I think we'll... Oh God, don't tell me oh, there we go. Start by giving this a little DW juice. Yeah. That'll smell fantastic once the boiler fires back up. So I took out the temperature and pressure relief valve. Opened up the that port right there, so all the water from upstairs is letting air in. It's going up through the pipe, and it's letting water down into this bucket. And we're gonna have to just bail that outside. This thing, pretty yucky, man. Yeah, there's definitely something was happening there. Temperature and pressure relief valve. Yeah, we knew that was doing stuff. I wasn't sure about the pump, and I'm not going to be sure until we break things back there, but yeah, for now, we can at least, and this is a dually. Oh, this is a much better quality valve too. That other one was like thin metal. This is diesel. Look at that. It looks better already. We just took some like high heat, make it brand new spray, kind of wire brushed it, put in a new air vent, new temperature and pressure valve, our little stick that goes down to the floor within 18 inches of the floor for code. And yeah, it's crazy to me that they use black malleable pipe for water. But see, here's the thing, right? This water stays in the loop, and you can use that pipe as long as you don't introduce oxygen. So it's the same thing with your boiler. Like if you fill up your boiler and then drain it out and just let it sit drained out, oxygen gets in there and it will start to just deteriorate the inside. So you don't want to do that. I mean, we're probably going to have to do that tonight. We're probably going to have to try to get all the water out of here, pull this apart, and I'll go get some materials tomorrow because I don't know if we have to cut these bolts off. Probably. So this should prove to you, like, if something doesn't look good on your boiler, I think you should take care of it. Don't just ignore it, because the problem won't go away. So I just went to cut. Yeah, see, I tried to cut this top bolt, but it shook loose before I could get it out. And then this one, I can't get an angle on it. So I went around the backside, and as soon as the Sawzall blade hit the bolt, it just broke. So that bolt was almost completely rusted through. All it took was a small nudge, and it just snapped. So this, I mean, was like days, weeks away from just in the middle of winter. Well, leprechauns tell me to burn things, so I burned that. And now we're giving it the rust cutter. Dude, look at that. It's just like, look at the rust. It just melts it away. You don't want to get this stuff on your skin, though. It does burn a little bit. Just a little bit. It's not, like, too unbearable, but... yeah, this stuff will actually, it stops the rust in its tracks. And makes it perfect for, paint. Alright, while we're waiting for the outside thing to, kind of dry... I wire brush the crap out of this. After I put some rust cutter on, I made sure to get in the holes. And you can actually get in behind these holes. That's where the nuts... oh God, this stuff. Some powerful stuff. But I just want to hose... oh God. Yeah, this stuff is like, it's really, this stuff works amazing, but it burns your skin a little bit, and you don't want to, like, yeah, you don't want to breathe it in. So I have this. It's for grinding countertops. It's a diamond bit. It's super flat. It was really expensive. I bought it for a different purpose, but it didn't exactly work for what I wanted it for, so I've just had it. And I'm thinking this is the perfect candidate to kind of just flatten that flange. And see, this is the thing, right? This side has that opening, so the black gasket sits down inside of that. And I'm thinking they used black gaskets the last time, which they don't go all the way to the edge. That's why we have, this crusty outer layer. It's because the black gasket actually makes a seal on the inner side of this. So I think the best bet is to go maybe with the black gaskets and not the red ones. But I'm still going to try to very carefully just get some of these high points, just kind of get them flat, dry this off, maybe heat it up so that it dries quicker, and then we're gonna give it a paint job. Oh my God, like I didn't think that was actually gonna ever look new with the rust buildup. Like it flowers, it grows like weeds, and you gotta knock them off. I think once that dries, that's going to look pretty dang good. Alright, well, I was tightening this flange on, and it was hard. And then all of a sudden it got really, really easy. And I should have known what that means. Can you see it? Yeah, it's split. Taco flange, split. So, I guess, at least we have some water in the boiler now. We're holding water up to here. I'm going to go grab another taco flange and a new expansion tank. And then hopefully this thing will work and nothing else blows up. All right, so we're gonna start off. You know, I did go to Depot and saw that they had expansion tanks. They were like $30 each. And I was like, yeah, we should grab it. But then I saw like the quality of it and I was like, yeah, nope. So I wanted to see what this was. Seeing that it's been here since 1980. And this is an Amtrol Model 15. So I looked online and son of a gun, there's Amtrol Model 15. It was $60, twice the price of the Home Depot one. But I think that was a wise decision. Let's pop that in. And then, yeah, look at this. No more threads. No more stuff to snap and crack on me. That's getting soldered on. And it's solid bronze. All right, let's get rid of this. All right, I got it cleaned, fluxed. I dropped the bolts in just loosely to make sure we're lined up correctly. Put the handle in the back where you can get to it. And before I put the, there's no gasket in there. I'm gonna solder it up now, let it cool down, and then slip the gasket in there and tighten it up. Yeah, look at that. That looks brand spanking new. All right, guys, this is why you should always trust who you're hiring. No matter if it's mechanic work, whatever, boiler work, housework, always trust who you're hiring. Because I find it's a common theme that people just tell you, yeah, you need a new one. Sorry, you need to replace it. Sorry. And they take advantage of people, and it's sickening to me. So I had a heating company tell me I needed a new boiler. It's unsavable. Like, you need a new boiler. Then I went to a couple of supply houses to find parts, and they also told me I need a new boiler. And I was like, kind of sick to my stomach. I'm like, you guys are fucking scumbags. You know what I mean? Because I took the jacket off my boiler. The actual boiler itself is in excellent condition. I mean, there's no rust. I mean, this thing looks beautiful. All right, the jacket looks a little rough, but the jacket is just to cover in a little bit of insulation to cover the boiler. So I got everything running. We're full of water, and it works. If I turn on the thermostat, the system fires up, and it runs, and it heats. The problem I ran into is this new takeout pump that we put in. It does not shut off. It just keeps running and running and running. So I did a little digging, and I found this. You see that little brass thing? You see that little brass thing? That threaded in there. And then there's some wires coming out of it. But this is full of water, so I don't want to, and I've already bled everything out, I don't want to take those out, necessarily. And what does this say? Oh, this is a hydrotherm circulator control. So this is an electrical control. Model LS50. Problem is, this part doesn't exist. They stopped making this part a long time ago. Right, so I went looking for this or a substitute. I even asked AI. AI told me to get one of these, a Honeywell. Basically, this sort of does the same thing as this. This uses a little probe, and it senses the temperature of the boiler. Once the temperature is hot enough, this will make a connection and send power to the pump. But when it cools down, it's supposed to shut off. but it doesn't. So that switch is broken. So they're telling me I need a new boiler because of a electrical problem. Does that make any sense to you? No. And basically, I did not like the idea of these because I don't know if it's normally open, normally closed. I'm not sure. This basically senses the temperature of the boiler. Once the boiler gets up to like 180 degrees, this will tell the gas valve to shut down. And the circulator pump will continue to circulate the water as it cools down. If it gets cool enough and you still want heat, this will tell this, hey, fire back up, and it will kick back on. It's pretty simple, right? But the whole thing in the back, and I figured the best way to show you guys, I mean, these old systems they're so simple, it's crazy. But sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to take a step back and boil things down literally to the simplest form. So here we go. Here's the setup we have currently. I drew a nice little diagram here. So what is a boiler? It is a cast iron case or container that has water in it. And then we have a gas valve right here. And this heat tube, the flames come up and hit the bottom of the boiler, heating up the water. And when you're in your house and you go, hey, I'm cold, I'd like some heat, you turn on your thermostat, and the thermostat sends a signal down here to the gas valve. It's not, and I'm leaving parts out. Yes, there's a thermopile here that's on the pilot that takes heat, converts it to low voltage electricity that goes up this wire. And then when you call for heat, it makes a connection and then it comes back. Yeah, I'm leaving out some stuff. I'm just trying to get the very, very basics here. So we have the aquastat here in the front, senses the temperature of the water and tells the gas valve to turn on and off accordingly. And if you say, I don't want heat anymore, then it just all shuts down. But if you still want heat and the water gets too hot, the aquastat in the front regulates and tells the flame when to come on and off. Pretty simple, right? Then we have a pipe coming out of the top. That water gets pushed. And we have an expansion tank because when this water heats up, it expands and it needs somewhere to go. So it goes into this expansion tank, which has a diaphragm. There's water on the bottom, air on the top. And then a safety valve, temperature and pressure relief valve. If this tank failed and it was full of water and the pressure was building up beyond its limits, it would shoot the water onto the floor so it didn't explode. Got that? All right. Now the water gets pushed through your whole house and then comes back down, and this circulator pump pulls that water down and pushes it back into the boiler and then back up, and it's just a continuous loop. And the way the old system worked is we had a control module here on the back that sensed the temperature of the water and told the pump to turn on. You got it? I mean, it's pretty simple. And yet, every person I was talking to told me that I needed a new boiler. Right. I had 4 guys at a supply house, baffled. They were just sitting there like, we don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I'm like, come on, guys, you don't have a boiler expert. There's got to be somebody here that knows some sort of control. That's all I'm trying to do. I said, all I'm trying to do is control the take-o pump. I need something that will tell it when to turn on and when to turn off. I mean, it's a pretty, come on. They couldn't, I was like, forget it. I'm just going to go look in your aisles. So I started walking through their aisles back and forth, opening boxes, and guess what I found? made by the same company that makes the Takeo pump. This is a switching relay for one zone. That's what we have, one zone. And basically, I asked AI, and I looked on the online forums, and what the online forums were telling me to do, again, was to put another one of these aquastats in the back, and then have the aquastat control the pump, which may or may not have worked, depending on if it was normally open, like the circuit. There's switches that are normally closed and normally open. And then depending on the control, it'll either close it or open it. That's very important to know, and they couldn't tell me. So, yeah, I wasn't... And plus, to get the probe to go into the boiler, the new brass probe to go in, plus the control, it was going to be $200. $200 for those two controls that I had no idea if they were actually going to work. But then we found this. So this is how, in theory, and the way I'm thinking, I'm still going to have to figure out controls a little bit, or wiring, which is basically just plumbing, just in wire form. But this is how it should work now. Here's our new setup. So instead of the thermostat coming directly down to the gas valve, the thermostat's going to go into our new controller box. And then from the controller box, then it will go out to the gas valve. So this control box will control not only, the boiler turning on and off, but it will also control the pump. So this will be the main control module now. That should control everything. We do not need to disturb the link between the aquastat and the gas valve. The link between those two can be left as is. That link does not need to be controlled by that box. So that can stay as is. All we have to do is just take the thermostat wire off the gas valve, put it into this, and then bring power in, bring power out to the pump. And this was $80. All right, so while we're here, I want to double check the electrics. I mean, all of them. Because usually when you see a switch on the side of a boiler like this, that means you can turn everything off for service, correct? If you're servicing say we were going to change that part in the back, say we could get it. We want to be able to turn the power off so that we can service this and not disturb anything else. I went and flipped this off, pulled this wire out of the old control, and sparks flew. Well, I would say this is unbelievable, but I have found worse things in this house. They put the common wire to the switch, not the hot wire. I mean, God forbid. So that would make perfect sense why when I tried to pull that out of the box, sparks were flying. So we're going to replace this switch because it feels old and clunky. We're also going to replace this with a longer piece of wire, and we're going to hook the new switch up properly. All right, so we got our switch in correctly this time. I had to shut the circuit off. It goes to that light because this is where that's pulled from. New switch. I put a plastic plate. I mean, it's all I had. Maybe I'll get a metal one at some point. And then I put a new wire coming from the electrical box. So now when this switch is off, everything's dead. Everything. Including the wire coming out of the box, like it should be. And then I put a new wire coming from our Takeo pump, because it was too short. And here's our thermostat wire coming down from upstairs, which is brand new. Just ran this. And we mounted our box to the side of the boiler here. Couple of screws through the jacket. Won't affect the boiler at all. And then I've added a new thermostat wire with a little coil just for some extra slack, you never know. Reconnected to the gas valve, taped on. And this will come in the bottom. And then these two wires will go into there. Alright, so this is just for anybody who's interested or may have the same problem I had with a hydrotherm boiler. It's so old you can't get parts for it. So I got a Takeo one zone control box, and I went with typical wiring, the very first one. Then there's alternative wiring, and there's a bunch more on the back. But just to go over this before we test it and see if it works, the Aquastat is still wired directly to the gas valve. These two are married, and that stays like that. You don't need to mess with that. The only thing you mess with is you just take the thermostat wire off the gas valve and put it in here instead. And it's super simple. You have red, white, RW, or TT. Right at the top. Thermostat wire in, low voltage side here, common, white. And then NO is normally open. And you can also go normally closed if you'd like, for different scenarios. I like how they have that option. But for our scenario, we need normally open. So the red goes to the normally open side. And then from our switch, we have power coming in. We got all the grounds twisted to ground. Power coming in goes to H, hot. And then obviously N, neutral, right? And then the power basically coming from the pump or going to the pump, we have that wire coming in, and we have both the neutrals in the same. And then we have the black wire from the pump going to, again, number 4, normally open. We want it open, which means circuit broken. Closed means circuit connected. We don't want circuit connected, we want circuit disconnected until we tell it. And that is the purpose of this control box. All right, here's the big test. Thermostat is calling for heat. It's on, and I have it set to 90 degrees. Let's pray there's no smoke. And it fired up. But is the pump running? Are we getting heat upstairs? Let's go check. So while we wait a second to see if this is actually working, I was actually just at a job where a guy had an old heating system that he loved, right? It was vented into his chimney, and it did a great job. He has an old house in the city. His boiler went down. They told him he needed a new one. They came out and replaced it. And then they said, oh, we cannot vent into your chimney anymore. It's not to code. You know what I mean? So, well, what do you mean? It's been vented into the chimney for 100 years. And now I can't have it vented into... No. We have to cut new holes in your house, and we have to run these pipes out into your yard, up the side of your freaking building. And he was like, I don't want that. And they're like, well, too bad. Basically. And then after the whole system was installed, he was using it just to like get a feel for it. And he's like, I wish I never even did this because it is so freaking loud. You can hear it all the way up on the 3rd floor. Like he's like, I don't like it. I wish I called you to try to fix my old boiler. Oh yeah, we got heat. I mean, I can smell it again too. I can smell the oil. So now, here's the important part. Whether we get to temperature, which I don't want to get to 90 degrees, or we shut the thermostat off, that boiler and the pump, they should shut off. Let's see. Did we pull it off? Boiler's off. Pump is not running. Son of a gun. All right, we're good to go. I turned the pilot back off and flipped the power back off. I like to keep things off completely, until I need it. I don't want that pilot running all summer. It throws off a lot of heat in the basement. Plus, you're just sitting there wasting gas anyway. So I always try to shut the pilot off, flip it off, leave it off for the summertime. But we spent, which I looked up, so for me to replace this boiler right now, had I followed their instructions, it would have cost me $3,000 minimum just for the boiler. Just for the boiler. Plus, I would have had to spend, Taco pump and all of these valves, tank, rework the vent, a bunch of pipe, a bunch of fittings. So it probably would have cost me in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000 just in materials had I installed it myself. Had I had someone else install it, it probably would be like $7,000, $8,000 to have this done. Completely new, but there's nothing wrong with the boiler. There's nothing wrong with the boiler. And this is why I think it's good for people to go down, if you're a little handy, just visually inspect. If you got to pull the jacket off the boiler, pull the jacket off the boiler. If you can. Visually inspect. Hey, is there rust? Hey, maybe we can take care of that. Look at this. That looks brand new. New gaskets, repainted. New valves, new pump. Everything, the jacket looks like hell, but who gives a shit? The jacket does nothing besides cover the boiler from people getting burnt, and it has some insulation in there to kind of hold that heat in. Yeah, it might not be as efficient as some of the newer stuff, but I don't think maybe not everyone has $8,000 to burn right now. So this cost me $400 in materials. Had I charged somebody to do this job, I'd probably charge him $1,000. So $1,000 versus 7 or 8, I would say, yeah, that's pretty good. And we could do things to up the efficiency, correct? We could go around and get rid of all of this loose pipe insulation that's way too big. Get the proper size pipe insulation and properly go around, which I'm going to do at some point, and insulate all of these heat pipes. Tape them up, wrap them up, make sure that they're all it's fine to have a little heat thrown off in the basement. I think between that and the 2 water heaters, it keeps it warm enough down here in the wintertime. So if we can go around and insulate there's tons of them. Bare. Oh, that's screaming hot. I already went around and replaced all the bleeders. Clipped everything up with nice clips. Everything's hung up nice. So I think my next step is going to be changing a couple of valves and insulating everything to get just, a little bit higher efficiency. We want that heat upstairs mostly. Well, yeah, there it is, guys. I was told that, sorry, man, you're going to need a new boiler. I say bullshit. I can almost guarantee this thing will outlive me. Now that we spent a little time, because it looked a little crusty, This thing is as good as new. We flushed it out. We got all the garbage out of the boiler, fresh water in. It's all bled out. Everything is new. Even have a new control system. So this is almost a modern boiler now. Crazy, right? Be careful who you let into your house. Make sure you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. See you later.